Robin Lovelock's 2024 birthday weekend, rough cut photo trails. Yes, the introduction that starts was a few days earlier, and so I used that material, and the first photo trail is the Friday, which is the complete day. So let's go into that earlier material and then into the new photo trails, which was the weekend through to the Monday. It's the Monday midday. Anyhow, enough of me talking. So, Robin Lovelock's 2024 birthday weekend, rough cut photo trails. And as always, they will be rough cut. I'll start with a standard introduction. Here we live at 22 Armitage Court in Sunning Hill. All inside's about fierce guard cats. You may get a glimpse of one of them soon. This is the spot, so-called Robin's Corner, where GPS was tested from the late 1980s on, down at this spot. Yes, a bit of garden sculpture from June. Coming up to 4 years ago, she gave me that as a birthday present. Here's the oak tree that came up from an acorn. And yeah, cameras everywhere. Grass growing nicely, might cut it sometime. Coming down the front drive. Yes, this is June's car. Promotion of the website that was business many decades ago, but is now hobbies and charitable causes. Yes, this is one of our guard cats, Bentley. He's the senior guard cat, has been training Toadie in house protection, property protection, and lots more surveillance locally. Coming down here, yes, there's the bicycle. Haven't had a chance to try that out. This is the project of a couple of years ago now, I guess, with the accommodation for people like Bentley and our Toadie, with armed mice and various other things, and of course it's somewhere to put the dustbins. Glimpse round there, yeah, load of mess. Right, coming up, I'll be going into health and safety warnings in a moment, but there's a bit more about the robot boat in this one. Yeah, this is where we come into the house. This was our camper that was used to take Snoopy's robot boat down to the coast for its last attempt on the Atlantic. And battle damage, June said Robin did it, Robin said the wall did it, but the wall is okay. Now, I have to point out some health and safety things, warning messages everywhere. They're all jokes, of course. You don't have to take them seriously, so don't worry about it. Yes, closed circuit TV cameras inside and outside the house. Sound and video is monitored in local houses and everywhere. No trespassing. Violators will be shot. Survivors will be shot again. Probably, oh yes, another, that's my study in there. You may get a glance of that. Do not disturb. I'm disturbed enough already. And perhaps the most important sign, because it's not only cameras, it's other things like water squirters. Home of mad ex-NATO scientist Robin Lovelock. Beware of web cameras and water squirters loaded with water, paint, acid, DNA tracer or nerve agent. Robin would not be mad enough to test these, or would he? Okay. It's a joke, of course. Yes, that's a project from Christmas, the fairy, flatulent fairy, as somebody say when you look at the noises it can make. Lots of fun. Right, into the house. I think it's safe to do that now. And June's getting ready for us to go out for a picnic with the bandsaws. So what I'll take you through here is a glance of the study. And what's going on at the moment is processing of yesterday's video that should be part of this photo trail at the end. Glimpse of the kitchen. Nothing much in there. June's hoping to get a new kitchen. Might do sometime. She got one in 1801. Right. Now, first a glimpse of the lounge, and what's on the screen is the spot Satcom's tracker position that is currently in June's car that we saw a glimpse of just here, and that's pretty good information. But what's much more important is the robot boat. Oh, slight distraction, a bright idea. We might make a duck, tug duck, I think. Probably go a little faster than most ducks. Right, we're coming into the important room now, which is the games room. One of the reasons for these videos is that hopefully we may find people to help in things like, it might be called property maintenance.
GPS time 9:41, 44 seconds, target alpha, 11 kilometers, at 349 degrees, GPS cross 136, speed 0.0 knots, left 147.
So this is coming along nicely. We may be getting close to being able to do a Bray Lake test, which we do thoroughly before attempts on the Atlantic.
GPS time 9:42, 9 seconds, target alpha, 11 kilometers, at 349 degrees, GPS course 156, speed 0.0 knots, left 147.
That's the autopilot software running. If I switch off and start again, you'll hear the details like the version number.
Snoopy's Pickaxe 28X2 GPS only autopilot. Software version Romeo. Last update 6th of December 2017.
Yes, so we haven't had to change the software for years. The things that fail are always mechanical things, which are described in various places. This is the old tracker that's currently in, the proper one is in the car, but that is the same thing that was written off basically on the last attempt. And this is extra test equipment for Bray Lake. So we've been redoing this whole lot in a much better. So that's the Mobius video camera that is put on just for a Bray Lake test. And this is the things holding stuff again just for test on Bray Lake. The text-to-speech unit, so the computer can be heard speaking. The GPS logger to record the position second by second going around the lake, and of course everything is driven by solar panels. Yeah, lots of words and things. Pictures and videos often say a lot more. So this is the games room, and we hope to get this lot tidied up and things put in the right places. What I will show here is, yes, there are several other robot boats here. That was Eric's boat, which goes far faster because it's smaller, but not enough solar panels for Atlantic. And that was Alexei from Russia's bright idea. And old robot boats here. Materials, lots of materials, all to be put in the right place. And the fact they're in here at the moment is a temporary thing. Right, lots of words here, but it often captures information which wouldn't otherwise get. So this is the pond, and all the water off the roof flows into the pond. This is patio area. Again, recent thing on photo trails is the pond pump is being driven by solar panels backed up by mains power. There's the water squirter just gone off. That's only got water in it, by the way. That's probably my movement that's caused that, unless it was a plant going in front of it. And that's to deter the heron. We've got other... Yeah, that was me, I think. It's only water in it. I vouch for that. Yes, that was done a few years ago, but has been improved. So we got a temporary place for all the odds and ends that were dotted around the garden before we decide better places. And of course those mirrors help to reflect the heat and the light from the chimney. There's June's new barbecue, which we've been trying out recently. So quick walk down the garden. Yes, Robin's old telescope, built the optics when he was still at school, and haven't done anything on it for years. That's now we're pointing out plants that are shooting up almost day by day. So that's June's greenhouse. That's Robin's workshop. That's wild fennel brought back from Sicily. Lovely flavouring for things like pasta con sard, pasta with sardines. Coming down to basically a project being going on in the background, which is tweaking and improving the sundial. I'm not sure, I can't see very easily what the time is at the moment, but we've got that sundial, which is a conventional one, says, oh, coming up to 10 o'clock, 9:45-ish, looking at the direction of the shadow, and the direction of the shadow here is based on this globe here. So according to that, if you look at the direction, it's saying, well, it's going roughly that way, and yes, there's 9:45, but British summer time is an hour extra. So that's all being tweaked, as we say. Yes, I'll go down the garden this way. So all water off the roof flows into the top pond. When that is full, it flows down the stream into the next pond, so-called duck pond, but ducks have never taken an interest in it, and overflows down into the reservoir for the bog garden. And so things are flowering up, coming up here. There's Gunner romanticata, the giant rhubarb. There was one further back there, and hawthorn coming into flower, and that may encourage birds to nest in things like nesting boxes. And even when the hawthorn really gets going, within several years, it'll they may nest in that. So this is the junk heap, compost heaps. So this stuff is fairly easy. What takes time is, yes, stuff like that is clearly going to be thrown, not all those containers, but the most important stuff, and where the time is taken, is sorting out all the, I'm going to look inside here briefly. So that was done several years ago, and some tools are there, but a better place will be where they can easily be found, and found by anybody. I don't think anybody's going to be stupid enough to come in and steal anything. So, for example, a lawnmower. There you go. Look down the garden and you find a lawnmower. There's other tools there. A lot of these things could be put in better places, but at least it's a step in the right direction. Yeah, June's little plant garden. Another accommodation for guard cats. Memento of our late pussycat Gingy, otherwise known as Fartalot, christened by Michelle. The laboratory, lots of tidying up, even though we've got the cupboards to put things. Yes, robot boat stuff, electronics for robot boats, Halloween stuff. And coming around, robot boats, there's the materials there, ready for making another one if we hadn't have got the other one back. Yeah, tools. And as I've said many times, it's a case of finding places to put things while you then decide what do you throw away, keep, or give to somebody else. Yeah, so there's the workshop with stuff that you'll see being used, and there's a vise. And that was the last job, which was spraying those little pointers. There's lots of tidying up needed. Look around the corner, another little wild patch, you never know. Eventually, with time, birds, wild animals, some animals really do take an interest. We get regular visits from hedgehogs, foxes, and of course birds, not nesting necessarily. Yes, this is going to be a long intro, but as I say, some of this material might be of use to guys who are going to help us or others, or at least perhaps decide not to make the same mistakes that Robin has. Here's June's greenhouse. Another hawthorn tree growing there, coming round. Oh, it looks like somebody's just put something in the dustbin where we keep stuff here. Yeah, that was June. So, oh, here's Bentley. So he's still on guard duty, aren't you, Bentley? Anything interesting happen? No, he said. Boring, really. Right, so I'll go back the route rather than try and get in through the front door. And so then we can run into that long photo trail, or photo trails for basically this one is for the middle of May, and at the end there'll be some clips that were shot earlier, not so much early in the year but last year, on two subjects. One is a very important one, which is the prophetic words of James Lovelock about global warming. In short, it's going to happen. Main thing is doing what one can best to... Sorry about the interruptions of the robot boat. And the other topic is Robin's experience with the DVLA, the fact I still don't have my driving licence, which is all that's public information for those interested. Right, so now into those long photo trials. Friday the 24th of May 2024, 11 minutes of photos, including this 2-minute summary at the start. Yes, glimpses of pussycats as you would normally see them. A lot happened that day, and in fact the video ends, or this photo trail ends before the end of the day, because I wanted to get it off. Anyhow, yes, good progress, practically finished a portable version of the GPS logger that's going into the robot boat. Needs to be checked, but I had 2 of them anyhow, so that one can be used for testing. And yes, June's at tennis with Samantha. Check the tracker, and of course my tracker's not working, and I'm hoping that will be sorted from China. The nitty-gritty has been in several of the photo trails, but yeah, it's probably just a very minor thing, and yeah, hopefully Alan will sort it. Gary came round to work on June's car, and he also popped round and sorted Stuart's after. Yeah, and yes, that was a little job I did, which is that bird feeder that had fallen down out of the tree. I repaired the dome that is to protect it from squirrels going up, but then the question is, where's the best place to put it? Up the tree it was, or the cherry tree, and in fact I decided on the cherry tree, and didn't have to do very much to get it up there. May not be a perfect job, but it probably do. Make sure tools go back in the right places. Yeah, June's having a snack, and that was on the WhatsApp family group. Samantha boasting about the cake she's making for tomorrow. Apparently tomorrow's a special day. And yeah, that's the cake. It should be taken round. And yeah, so I'm wrapping up the summary there. And so here's the photos that were taken on that day in the order they were shot, and I guess it's possible some stuff will get tagged on the end. It's just a question of when. So yes, there's the robot boat, and yes, there's the garden, nice weather, and yeah, there's the GoTop White SOS tracker working well, which June and Samantha, but mine unfortunately doesn't work. It's timed out, and we know exactly that happens after, I think it's 377 days after purchase. Just a question of finding out where the shop is, or getting somebody to top up the tracking license. Yeah, anyhow, that's working. That's the spot tracker that's going in the boat. Fingers crossed my tracker will get sorted. And of course it's not just that one, I've got several Go Top trackers that have all got the same problem. And yeah, so that was the video. They're back from their tennis. Surprise, surprise, they're watching tennis on the telly. And yes, the tracker shows them. That's it, that's close enough. So that's good. Oh yes, and just to remind you again, my tracker, I get that. The good thing is that, yeah, Alan, excellent sales guy with support as well to get those things working. That's me putting a voice commentary on the day before, and I'm looking at, obviously giving a bit of thought. So I'm looking for emails in terms of paying GoTop from eBay, so that perhaps I can do something like send them a payment, and it might well, it might give them a reminder to look at my emails and at least communicate with me. But of course there could be lots of reasons for not getting replies. I just hope they're all well there. Yeah, so that's the email. Send another email. Wow, that's Gary arriving to work on the oil leak in Samantha's, Samantha, that's June's car. And so yeah, good work being done there. And of course when he gets a chance, conversation. Oh yeah, that arrived for the post, which was the election material for the Lib Dems, I think, or Liberals. Yeah, and lots of things happening. You can always stop it and look at the text if you're interested in the nitty gritty. I wouldn't be. So that's me working on that little yeah, fiddly job, and I decided rather than to use those connectors, I'd just do straight soldering, and then of course end up sealing it with smelly resin. There's yeah, because all these things are happening together. Yeah, so that's a selfie of Gary myself. Then Gary pops round to Stuart. I spoke to Stuart just for a moment, and yeah, there's Toadie. That grass will be cut sometime or other when I have the time, and that's progressing along nicely. And of course, question what materials you use. So now insulating those bits of wire with PVC tape, and then structurally, yeah, putting PVC tape over it. And then I thought, yes, a bit of polystyrene the right shape, so it's effectively, when it's put somewhere, wherever, the windowsill of the car. Yeah, so the women are off. There's June's white SOS Go Top tracker. There's the Spot Satcoms tracker, the very same one that is going in the boat. And yeah, so there's me using silicon sealant, I think, on that little job of making a portable version of the GPS logger that's going in the boat. Yes, the Spot Satcoms tracker is working well, and yes, anybody could see where it is, so no problem with that. Then check in June's tracker. Yes, there we go. And yeah, so basically I get a bit of warning if they come back, if I'm not busy doing something else. And fingers crossed, my tracker. Oh, that was a, well, some people say it was a scam call. I think it was somebody just earning a crust trying to make sales. But at the end of the day, it was didn't matter. I could tell from the voice and everything that it was probably some distance away rather than Slough, which is the code that their system imitated if it wasn't for real. So yeah, so that's the right, doing repairs. That dome needs to be fixed together, so I'm thinking, oh, how could I do that? And yeah, also use the chance to put the peanuts out. And in fact, it may or may not be at the end of this photo trail or some future photo trail for today, but we've got a solution for the better than just putting the peanuts on the porch on the floor. Basically a peanut feeder which is a bit of PVC tube. But anyhow, coming back to the bird feeder, basically I used outside sellotape, and then of course those screws were stopping me sliding the pole into that, and that also needed to be trimmed. I ended up using because the other one was a bit blunt, having used an old hacksaw blade. So basically that's it. So yes, a bit hot, so I changed what I was wearing, a bit cooler, put things back in the right place so I can find them again, or anybody who's doing similar work would know where to look if they'd looked at the video perhaps. And thinking, where does it go? And I decided, I'll put it in the cherry tree as opposed to the rhododendron tulip tree where it was. Oh, looks like yes, I was interrupted to take some pictures of Bentley messing about. So take it down the garden. Stupid Robin dropped it and broke half the bird perch that was there, but the other one was still there, so left it. Put the saw back. Oh no, took the saw out in order to cut that branch out of the way. It's only a little branch, but it stopped the feeder getting into a suitable position. It's close to vertical. And yeah, just took a few snaps of the other bird feeder related stuff, including the hawthorns growing. Oh yes, I trod on that iris, so I just pushed the leaf back. And that was the little branch I saw off, but again I just broke off by hand the extra little branches as a routine of trying to make sure everything on the compost heap is short. Much more compact then. Yeah, oh, that's what June's eating, and that's the cake sent on the family WhatsApp group by Samantha. And there's that little portable version of the logger, and it's getting late, so it's 4:30 or so. So I'm going to wrap up this trial with pictures of the cakes, and it's possible it ends up something after it, but probably not. So that's the end of that photo trail. Probably. Yes, there were more photos, about 2 minutes worth of them, taken later in the day. Yeah, some of the work was processing of that video. Yes, and that was a case of making a feeder for the peanuts using June's flamethrower, I call it. And so that's in place. And then it was a case of filling it with peanuts, and it means that when we're away for any time, they're not topping up the pile on the ground. Yes, that was the video, the late May 24 video, processing that so it could be uploaded. And closed circuit TV check. Yeah, that was probably live. A couple of pigeons. Yeah, took the dinner into the naughty corner in the lounge, where I could do the closed circuit TV check, and that was interrupted by the Bansals arriving. A lovely surprise. It wasn't for very long, just 10 minutes or so. And carried on with the closed circuit TV check. So usual thing, foxes coming for the peanuts on the front porch, and the hedgehog or hedgehogs, and a little mouse. Yeah, clearly saw that. He obviously saw there was no pussycats around. But there's a fox again. Camera switched at 03:44 GMT to colour for the day, and now going back from midnight. Yes, the hedgehog coming for the peanuts, and that looked like a bat. I'm not sure, couldn't be sure what it was. Hedgehogs, foxes, and camera switched at 2019 GMT for black and white for the night. So that was the closed circuit TV check done. Tony's come in to relax. June's watching that drama. Time for bed. So that is the end of the photo trail. Saturday the 25th of May 2024. Less than 21 minutes of photos, including this 3-minute summary at the start. Yes, glimpses of pussycats, including Bentley and Toadie. And yes, it was my birthday, and yeah, more of that in the summary. And I started to look at presents that were given me, and the YouTube video had completed from late May with subtitles. And yeah, there's so June started the day with stuff like that, and so they're probably off to tennis, and yes, checking the trackers, including my tracker, and a lovely birthday surprise for me. Thank you, Alan, or whoever it was in China that got it working again. So fingers crossed. Yes, lovely long video chat with Sister Sally, and oh yeah, that's the birthday present. And card, I like the card. Hedgehog operating radio control against a biker, and that was a present. Lovely. And found a good place to put it on the sundial. Peanuts arrived, and I was able to check out my new feeder, for particularly if we're away for any time and not topping up the peanuts, for hedgehogs and foxes. So that's our trip over to Saskia and Gary's near Blackbush Airfield for lovely lunch, barbecue and afternoon. Lots of things done then. And yes, unfortunately, that got broken, and it was to do with the gust of wind. But not to worry, that's on the agenda to be fixed. Yes, birthday cake followed all the health and safety rules, of course, and table tennis. And it reminded me, I hadn't played that really seriously since the 60s, playing for Ferranti at Bracknell. Yeah, lovely relaxing day, and that was a glimpse we took, and we tried to identify it, and it looked as though it might have been an osprey, because it didn't look like a buzzard or a red kite. And of course we've seen a load of those in recent years. Oh yes, booked up at the museum for an event. Yes. So bye bye to Saskia and Gary. So off back home and take all the stuff carefully out. Then the evening video WhatsApp chat, basically Michelle joined us for that, and yes, overlap with that, there's a little mouse caught on the closed circuit TV, as well as the usual hedgehogs and foxes trying out the feeder for the first time, and they seem to be using it. And yeah, so getting towards, yes, that's getting towards dawn, and there's Toadie hoping for mice. June's watching the TV and playing her video game, and yeah, Toadie's relaxing. So time for bed. That's the end of the summary. So now into the photos in the order they were shot, and so that's a little present for me. And the YouTube video had finished. I love that choice of the frame, and yes, Bentley's in his favourite little dozing spot in the utility room with the washing basket. Hello, Bentley. So June's putting the washing on, but he didn't seem to be disturbed by the machine running while it was under it. Perhaps he likes that. I thought, I wonder whether he liked my present. So now I'll put the hedgehog down near the feeding bowls. And yes, there's Toadie on guard duty, looking out the front window. And so June and Samantha off for tennis in the morning. Yes, Toadie's now in the long grass. That's got to be cut sometime, but I guess he hopes that mice might appear in it. So they're practically ready for tennis, and so they're off. And of course all these trips I use it as an opportunity to check trackers, like the White Go Top tracker, the SOS tracker that hasn't stopped, basically because it was still not 377 days after purchase, but whereas all the others had stopped. Yeah, sorry about that. And yeah, a few more photos. more about that, those Go Top trackers, which were ended up lovely. Well, so far so good. So there's just the snaps I took, including the battle damage. I decided some work was needed on that. It's getting faded, probably due to rain or washing it. So I did that, and I thought, well, how about a little bit of exterior varnish? I don't think June's seen this video. You know, it's not published yet, but even when it is, I'd actually play through all that detail. Yeah, so that's a really good spot for that present from June, which was that kind of mirror, circular mirror with robins and another little bird on it. And so just take a few snaps down the garden. Everything's gradually coming along nicely, including down the end with the hawthorn beginning to flower, and that it may take several years to provide encouragement to the birds to nest. So looking back up the garden, yes, that was what I put up the day before. Not a perfect job, but hopefully good enough. So coming back towards the house, the pond and the patio, and yes, the game's room full of junk. Oh, yes, matter of cleaning the brushes and putting them back in the right places. Well, that applies to all tools and materials. Yes, there's Bentley's still there, so he's been there several hours. Yeah, so I'm happy with that job done, and that's got to be filled with peanuts. And yeah, so what have we got next? Yes, checking the trackers. That's June's tracker. There's the Spot Satcom's tracker that's going in the robot boat. Yeah, that's working well. And yeah, so that's good. And then I checked my tracker, and that hadn't been working for some days, and there's lots of reasons, and it was suddenly working. Probably a coincidence, but on my birthday. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to communication. So all the trackers had switched back on, but a couple of them, yeah. Thanks, Alan, if you were was the guy. I haven't heard from you, but of course there's others out there that are glimpsed on the photo trails. Yeah, so that's one of the trackers. Now I think these trackers, because they hadn't been active for quite a long time now, quite a few months, the SIM cards will probably need changing. Anyhow, the women are back from tennis, and yes, I had that lovely video chat with Sally, and yes, that was the present she'd got me. T-shirt, not sure when I will wear it, if at all, but anyhow, I bet there'll be use for it. So now checking out the video, including choice of, for example, Hindi. So the automatic subtitles work, and yeah, what we're looking at now. I'll probably just checking it works on June's. Oh yes, one of my presents, fruit nut chocolate, and that was that mirror, lovely garden ornament from June, and the card. I like the card. Hedgehog using radio control, get his own back on the bikers that keep hitting hedgehogs. And looking at the sundial, coming after 11 British Standard Time, which is 10 GMT, which is basically what sundials use. And in fact, a lot of things use GMT or Universal Time or GPS time. Right, 12:20. I checked it. Yeah, yes, the pump had stopped working. At least I didn't see any water coming out, but I think I fixed that because it was, I think, a blockage in the. Can't be sure, but looking, that was the wiring across the pump, and yeah, I'd hope that would be a better job. So that's the peanuts, topping up the peanuts, and yes, putting the spare bag of peanuts where I keep it around the side, and making sure the cardboard boxes is cut up and put where it's supposed to be in the correct dustbin. and that's the Go Top 2 tracker, because this is described with the link to it on the AVL page, or automatic vehicle location page, so-called chase page. So I'm thinking, right, well, one thing I could do is charge it up. You never know, that might be there. So it looked as though it had gone low, and yeah, so that's relevant stuff off the contact page. You know, I'm a bit annoyed at something there, but not to worry. Yeah, that photo didn't come out very well. So I'm now looking at just showing you a little bit more about how you can use the user interface to look at the trackers. That's working well. And so meanwhile, I suppose that was that they're out. Oh yes, it's because we're off. That was it. It was late morning, so we were off to Saskia and Gary's, the three of us, to near Blackbush. So we've got a few photos of the trail going there, past various pubs. The cedar tree, almost certainly named after that cedar tree, long time ago, possibly 100 or 200 years ago, don't know. Past Sandhurst Military Academy, so past the, yes, various things. Quite like graffiti. And the elephant, yes, an important landmark been there. And into Hampshire, along the A30, where allegedly a young man did over 100 miles an hour in a Triumph Spitfire Mark III, past the Ely pub, and gradually making our way. This is on the edge of Yateley. So as we're coming to Yateley, we then go up lovely little Vigo Lane on the edge of the common, and I hope it remains a common. So we get to Saskia and Gary's and unload our stuff, including a bag of bits, including the present from Sally to show them. And yes, game of table tennis. Oh yeah, look at that. So that was a present, €50 for us to spend on a holiday. I much prefer 1,000 lira, old Italian, but well, thank you. We'll find something to spend it on. And yes, so their two pussycats were joining us, and yes, I can't remember which one's which now, but yeah, and that lovely little corner place, yeah, it might have been a bit dirty, but one of the advantages of wearing old clothes is it doesn't matter. And I'm just checking the tracker on my smartphone, and yeah, that looks correct. And yes, so it looks like barbecue's been rustled up. Yeah, there's the sweet corn, there's my hamburger. So enjoying our lunch, relaxing. A few spots of their lovely garden. There's loads of little garden projects. Obviously they're both working hard, so it's they have far less time to do anything. And now that's lovely little fountain. We thought, it was getting rather hot and sunny. Sunshade would be good. And so apparently it was yes, yeah, basically where they put the sunshade, there was a thermal went through, I think, when there was a gust of wind. So that was the table. Now there are easy fixes for it, but that was the table supporting the sun thing, and of course that fell over and smashed that lovely that's well, bird feeder really, isn't it? Well, a little thing. Anyhow, so out comes the birthday cake, and yeah, I like that t-shirt. Yeah, he was born within a few days of Samantha, I think. And yes, there's the candle. Followed health and safety practice, of course. And yeah, so lots of lovely food. Forced myself to eat it, and table tennis. And yeah, maybe a few more of those, because I got a a chance. And the key one is when that was playing Samantha, but it was yeah, a good few minutes playing Gary, and I was beginning to get back the memory of playing the game. Not sure I've got any photographs from them. That was would have been the 60s. Now I took that picture of that bird flying over, and immediately thought, doesn't look like a buzzard or a red kite, and osprey does seem to match it. I only had that one photo, and yes, some matching up there with birds and eagles, and looks like Saskia and June are booking up. Yeah, I like that bit of artwork. It's a little art corner they got, and they're both getting into a little bit of art when they've got the spare time. So that was a booking for the event at the Blackbush Airport Open Day in July. Right, looks like we're off. As I say, they're in a lovely spot there, just across the little gravel road. And so we're off on our way back home along Little Vigo. There's the Anchor Inn, another little landmark. There's the Ely, and down that long straight, downhill as well. And that was an interesting car. I think it was a Lotus. Past the Sandhurst Military Academy, and yeah, there's the fire station. I like the fact that, yeah, Penny Hill Park, and into Bagshot, yes, past another pub, past the entrance into the Royal Estate, Bagshot Park, and past Longacres, past the Windmill Pub, Sunning Hill, entrance into a Royal Estate, and yeah, so we're getting close to home now, past the Beresteed Hotel, and yeah, that sign on about the event which sadly we miss. Yeah, so back home, make sure we take all of our stuff out and back into the house. I checked the tracker, confirmed that yes, it not only shows my current position as it should do just here, but also the history shows where we've been. You need to be able to log into that, but at least I find it very useful, and anybody who just leaves it tracking on the page of the contact page will see it. Now I'm checking the spot tracker, and of course that shows it probably a little bit more detail there, but they both have their advantages and disadvantages, like cost is one of them. Right, so that's a link to YouTube. Now I spent some time on that, which is and I was chatting with guys on my little network, which is and it turned out that it was just something I was getting as a problem on my local platform. In other words, if I send them a link, which I think is the beginning of the video, so they play it from the beginning, apparently it will work, but it didn't seem to be doing that. Oh yeah, so I've tracked down the problems with the trackers are probably just the SIM cards need to be topped up or changed. Then we're into the video chat, and yes, that subject came up. I'd had impingement a couple of times some years ago now, and the solution was simply exercises rather than an operation. So yeah, women are still chatting, and I'm doing the closed circuit TV check for the night, and yes, there's a little mouse. I tend to only just show a few of the frames here, if something is, it's either typical, not all the visits. So there we got foxes, that's a male, the mangy one, and hedgehogs visiting both at the front. There's one using that feeder that I made, because that was only put up and filled with peanuts the night before. And there's the fox getting near dawn, and so the cameras have switched. 0344 GMT is where they switch to colour for the day, so I'm now running back from midnight yes, foxes and hedgehogs and cat Toady, and he's still there when the cameras switch at 2013 GMT. That was when they switched to black and white for the night. And so, yeah, 1 or 2 snaps. That is a job to be done, and in fact, there's progress being made in that the next day, which is when I'm recording this commentary. And yeah, so winding up the photo trails, June watching something on the telly, multitasking, doing game as well. There's the pussycat coming, and yes, my present is there with the cat food in the kitchen. So time for bed. So that's the end of the photo trail. Sunday the 26th of May 2024. 19 minutes of photos, including this 3-minute summary at the start. Yes, started as usual with the pussycats, and yes, that's Toady in the garden. And yes, that was the major little project going on at the side throughout the day, which was fixing that broken fountain at Saskia's and Gary's. Yes, the resin was very smelly, and it was quite a fiddly process, and the photo trail shows the nitty gritty, and the end result looked good, and we checked it, water, and then much later in the day we delivered it round to Saskia and Gary's. And at the time of recording this, we had received a WhatsApp video of it working as a fountain, but it was raining when we visited. Anyhow, the major exercise earlier had been our trip to the gardens open for the National Garden Scheme, and thoroughly enjoyed that. The photo trails will show it, and the wind in the willows, we'd been several times before. Great deal of fun, particularly the boggy areas, and of course chatting to people when we had the coffee and cakes at the end. Thoroughly enjoyable. Yes, supply of water there. That's the coffee and cakes, right near the collection boxes, for good charity that was as well. Right, so looks like we're on our way back home. That was after delivering the stuff. And right, in our garden, yes, a few checks around the garden, and yes, there was some interesting things like comments on the YouTube channel, and I must admit I very rarely look at that, let alone communicate. Yes, closed circuit TV check, hedgehogs and foxes, using the feeder that I put there, so that we don't have to keep topping up the peanuts every day. And yeah, I decided to take a walk down, just for the exercise of course, down to the Comrades Club and enjoy my 0% Peroni and any conversations. It was a quiet night in terms of nobody came in and played pool when I was there. Made my way back home, and yeah, June's watching that, checked the tracker. Yes, anybody could see, it looks like Robin's in the Comrades Club. There's Toady. So time for bed. So that's the end of the summary. So now into the photos in the order they were shot, starting with Bentley in his favourite place in the morning, which is in the washing basket. And of course several of those stories, if you call that, were going on in parallel. And so one of the major projects didn't occupy that much of my time, but was spread through the day, was the fiddly process, and you gave a good suggestion of how we go about it, but I decided to use Bostik to temporarily glue the bits together, before then using fast glass resin to do the structural job, and of course seals it as well, put stuff back in the places, even though it's all very untidy, but at least I knew where to look when I wanted the materials. Yes, that was probably doing the video for the day before. Right, And yes, so gradually making progress. I'll probably put it outside because it was so smelly. Looked out in the garden because, yes, so that was, what was it? Looked about 9:30 or so GMT, 10:30 BST. So just, I think I went out to get a file for one of the bits, had to be trimmed back a bit to squeeze it into place. Quite a fiddly process. Yes, exactly. And of course, I think a bit had broken off in the process, but it was all sorted. So that's the resin, and I managed to get it in place. And it was a fiddly process of actually holding it in position by various means. That looks like pussycats probably having lunch. That was my solution to hold it up in position, and then again use the boss stick to start off to effectively tack it in place, and then a weight down on it against the support. And then I was able to go the next level, which is use the fiberglass matting, and then finally the body filler to fill in where there was a bit of a gap. And then I say finally, then after that was all dry, because it's all fast drying, I then used the black silicone sealant, partly for appearance rather than just simply another Bouts braces for, sealing for water. Yeah, so it looks that was probably lunch. And so I left it outside. The sealant was all dry. June poured some water into it, confirmed, yes, no surprise, no leaks. Watched by Toadie, of course, prowling around the garden, probably on the lookout for unfortunate mice. June got a call, and yes, we decided we would go up to the National Garden Scheme. There was a little bunch of houses, including several that we'd been to before, and yes, so we Bentley's still in his washing basket, and yeah, the tracker's working. Anybody interested, because there's conversations going on, like emails about pub lunch and all sorts of things, and so anybody interested say, oh, where's Robin? We take that with us, because the plan was we'd go to the NGS place, which I think was about 3/4 of an hour north, and then pop into Gary and Saska's on the way back and deliver the mended fountain. So that's going familiar route through the village and the Windsor Park, past June's school, Windsor High School, and yes, past Black Park. So we're going north of Slough, that is, over motorways and things, get onto whatever motorway that was, get to the place where the parking was, and yes, all very well organised, of course. And we decided, or Jude decided, we'd go to a smaller garden that we hadn't been to before, which is part of the cluster of gardens that were open. I might be getting it around the wrong way. Perhaps we had been there once before. And a lovely garden ornaments, and yes, quite like that one. And they had a little pond. They used that method to protect the fish from the heron. And of course, in the few minutes you get chatting to people, that's a topic of conversation. And yes, now Wind in the Willows, we had been before, and of course there's a lovely great big area, including lovely boggy areas, bog gardens, kind of romanticata, and lots of other things, and of course lots of lovely flowers and things, and I think that was a bee, and yeah, absolutely lovely spot. And what I enjoyed was the adventure of walking. We beat the boundary, and some of it had been sensibly sort of closed off with bamboo sticks to say, no, not a good idea to go further than that. Yeah, that looks like some fungi of some kind. So yeah, lovely natural wildlife haven, flowers and all sorts of things. And So that was sort of beating the bounds of the property, I suppose one might say. But it, and yeah, so it said you're not supposed to go through there. Well, I did step the other side of it just to be mischievous and get one or two other photos. And then I made my way back. Now I was sure, but it looked very. It hadn't been blocked off, but yeah, look, you know, be careful where you walk. You leave little footprints. Somebody had been there before, or gone a yard or two. Lovely flowers, of course. And it was quite a lovely long walk past the Gunra manticata, the giant rhubarb. Got out, and then I saw at the other end they'd put some bamboos. So people nearer the house end would say, "Oh, you're not good idea to go through there." But there was two other lovely ladies who were, I don't know, 100 or 200 yards behind me. So June's saying, right, where she wants to go next was 4 minutes drive away. So yes, we saw that missing cat, Toby, not Toady. So we're now going round the corner basically, but we made a mistake, missed the turning because it was a short distance. Yeah, so trying to work out where it is. We could have gone more directly. Anyhow, the Google Maps sat nav got us there, okay. Yeah, there's the sign. We're a bit confused about which house it was, but then that was soon sorted. And yeah, lovely garden, looking around, and now there we were tempted there to have the coffee and cake there, and it was for a good cause. Yes, supply water, drinking water, and in fact we did. And that June says, yeah, it probably is a real tortoise. Yeah, so we did have our coffee and cake there. Lovely conversations with the people there. And then we saw that sign up outside. Not sure if it was the same place, but probably was. And yeah, so we're now on our way back, but back home via Saskia and Gary's. So again, the sat nav's doing its job. Although June can do a lot of that off the top of her head. Going past a few places. Yeah, past where the Gurkhas are known to be based, and take that in to Gary and Saskia, and they're able to put it in place, check it out with some water in it, and in fact, yeah, they showed us work they've been doing in the garden just in the day or two since. Then past some landmarks on the way back home. Yes, looked a bit too serious there. Past the Ely, along the A30. June needs to top up with petrol, so, and she thought, she could also get some shopping, the bread and milk, and I got some Red Bull as well. So coming past various places like the Sandhurst Military Academy on the edge of Camberley, and yes, fire station. So where are we now? Oh yes, the Jolly Farmer Roundabout is still called that, which I love, through Bagshot and Bagshot Park. That was the gateway that June's friend did a bit of work on just after the war, I think that was. It might have even been during the war. Right, coming back into the Berkshire. Yes, there's that work going on, which is relating to gas mains. Past the Beresteed Hotel, past the sign advertising the party in the park, celebrating anniversary. Into the house. Yes, the robot boat. That's come along nicely. And into the garden. Yes, that gunrun is now approaching my height. It's approaching it, so it's coming along. Obviously, it needed to be 1.5 to twice the height, so you can shelter under it if it rains. Yes, sorry about that. That's a bit of garden sculpture. Well, it's not. It's actually a PIR operated security light. Well, that's the gift that June gave me, that mirror, which was a good place for it. There's the greenhouse. There's one of the roses coming up. Yes. All the plants are shooting up nicely, like the RS. Yeah, look at that. That's the wild fennel from Sicily. So we can look forward to some nice cooking in the coming weeks and months. Although, I think we'll be eating it for real fairly soon. Oh yes, that was an interesting. There was some. What I don't very rarely do it, but there's a WhatsApp comment, and yeah, some lovely chat. But I think that's the same guy. That was his thing. It's all public information, just a case of doing a quick click or two and going to the right places. Yeah, so I was just checking the tracker. That was working. That's the Spot Satcoms tracker that's going into the robot boat. Showed us where we went. Anybody could have seen, just looking off the Snoopy's robot boat page, and ended up at Saskia and Gary's, so that's all working well. Then I checked my GoTop tracker, and of course this is all working now, which is brilliant. And so yeah, we still haven't had the communication from China in terms of well, basically to make sure that we can get the other ones working, but much more important, other people, if they buy the products, know how to deal with them. Yeah, so meanwhile June's called dinner, so I go in, that looks like fish and chips, so I take that into the naughty corner, and yeah, some other conversations going on, and do the closed circuit TV check for the night. Yeah, just a quick check. Yes, so foxes, sorry, that was a hedgehog, of course, and that is a fox, and they're making use of that feeder. So there's a few peanuts left on the ground, but rather than top that up, I'm topping up the feeder. I want to confirm that that serves its purpose, and of course the key thing is you could go for quite a few days of not having to put peanuts out, but they still be able to get them. So that's, yeah, fox coming to the top bridge, and a hedgehog as well, all for the same purpose. Camera switch at 0413 GMT in the morning to colour, so I'm now running back from midnight. Same pattern, there's a fox and a hedgehog eating the peanuts from the feeder, and there's Toadie watching the top bridge, hoping a mouse will appear. There's Bentley. He's probably waiting to come in. 2023 GMT, and that's when the camera switched to black and not white for the night. So that was done. That June's watching, I think that was a drama. Oh no, that was tennis. And yeah, so I think I'll probably check in the, yes. Oh, I decided to take a trip down. Yes, I walked down to the Comrades Club. So went into there. It varies from week to week. It's I usually time it so the bingo crowd are leaving and the pool table's available. And I checked, yes, and my smartphone showed it, just followed the public information, showed me there. I was curious where the golf was that was being shown on the TV, and a little quick Google found out basically the name of the course. It was at Fort Worth, Texas, where Captain Kidd, I think, Snoopy's Robot Boat Network friend, lives, and or near there, yeah. So back home, and yes, the tracker works fine, and that shows where I've been. So that's all working. Just here, that's correct. And there's Toadie coming to sleep. Time for bed. So that's the end of the photo trail. Monday the 27th of May 2024, 8.5 minutes of photos and a video clip, and including this summary, what is it, 1.7 minutes. Yes, Pussycats at the start, and the video clip, that's without the sound, not the full clip, gives you a flavour of it. It shows the fountain working that I fixed the day before, and yeah, carried on into the summary. yes, working on processing of videos for the previous day, and yeah, June ordered that little webcam to go on the door, and they came over. It was briefed by June on feeding the cats, obviously gave her a key, and June went off shopping, and just round the corner, Waitrose, and I looked, all the peanuts had gone. Goodness me, so I did the obvious thing and stacked them up. But if we're away for any time, what do you do about that? And then came a delivery, and I thought it might be something for me, but oh no, it was for June. And gosh, what a coincidence. Don't tell June, but just the thing to put peanuts in. I don't know how long it'll last, because it's not that big a container. Anyhow, June gets back, and then she sees what I've done. She says. But as it happens, she'd ordered a couple, and it was really for the one that was for the water, to have a spare one for the water. So yes, have a quick glance at Sicily, where we're off to. And so that's the end of the summary. So now into the photos in the order they were shot, starting with Bentley in his favourite spot early in the day, in the washing basket, and June having breakfast there. A bit of sad news there about the guy who was killed in the Spitfire, squadron leader Long, I think it was. Yes, there's the hedgehog. Sorry, hedgehog. That's a squirrel, you stupid boy. Yeah, feed him on the peanuts. That was just outside the window. And yeah, a bit recording for the day before the video, like I'm doing now. And that's what she's ordered. The same thing she got for Michelle some time ago. Yes, and of course she sends me a PayPal money request. Yes, there's the squirrel there again. Just looking out the window, that is. And yeah, so that's the WhatsApp video. There's Faye popping over, as she said she would do, and June goes over. Well, it was pretty straightforward, but loads of chat about other things. So then June's off to do some shopping round the corner at Waitrose, near the railway station at Sunningdale. I check out the trackers, of course. It's also useful to, if you're paying attention, to see when she's getting back, you know. As it happened, my attention was diverted. Yes, that's the Satcom's tracker. That's where we are, and so it's only just round the corner, a few minutes, 5 minutes perhaps. And yeah, so I took the opportunity to take a few snaps. I knew this would be at the halfway through the day, basically, before it was wrapped up, in order to publish it. So I took a few snaps, including a robot boat. No work done on it today, but it's getting close. Yeah, that's where I noticed all the peanuts were gone, practically. And so topped them up, and I thought, what am I going to do about that? So that was in the back of my head. Took the opportunity to go down the garden, take a few snaps. Just obviously, it was only a day since the last pictures, but yeah, just for the record. Yeah, so that's the end. Then looking up past the middle pond, the duck pond with no ducks in it. There's the little duck house made several years ago. Getting a bit of a wilderness, but not too bad. Behind the water squirter, because a lot of these projects, there's no time to complete them. You do whatever's top of the list. Putting a solar panel on the water squirter was on the list, so that the batteries didn't go flat. Right, yes, sun was coming out. Unfortunately, at that time it didn't show up there, but the shadow worked well from the globe, the direction of that, and yeah, just might be able to just read it. It was just after 12 midday, I think, or 1 o'clock BST. I saw that correctly. That was the present from June. Looks nice, and it also helps cast a shadow. That's the wild fennel that we see, and there's a goldfish. There's a water squirter going off. Goes off quite regularly. I didn't get a chance to see whether it's a plant, so I just took a few more snaps around there. Yeah, including me in the mirrors. coming back. Yeah, robot boat. Yes, there's the QR code. Snoopy's robot boat. And just using the chance to take a few snaps. Ah, there's the courier coming. He came to the door just as I did. And there's Toadie out there. And I thought, now, yes, just the job. Don't tell June. It could go just out there. So I filled up with peanuts. I must admit, quite a few peanuts got scattered around. And yeah, on closed circuit TV, you can see it as well. And I just noticed that June's back. Oh, that was close timing. So I go out and help her carry all that heavy shopping, like the Red Bull in. Get a glance of her tracker, which works well. And yes, she says yes, she's okay with what I used it for, because she's intending it to be used for water. That was why they came as a pair, and so there's no problem. So a picture of the holiday picture up on their kitchen wall, all good. So that's the end of the photo trail. Here's a WhatsApp video from Saskia. Fountain working again after its accident. Thanks for fixing it, Dad. Yes, that's the solar panel driving it. What you don't see here is I sent a text reply which said something like, yes, invoice in progress or something. I said it would be a long set of photo trails. Did warn you. Right, so we're about to go into that material shot early in the year. I normally start from about here. Yes, there's Toadie, our guard cat, having a late breakfast, I would imagine. Hello, Toadie. And June's just doing a bit of washing up because we're getting ready to go out with the Bansals pretty soon. And yes, that was done a little while ago. Temporary mirrors, but at least you get a better view of things like the trees and the wildlife. Right, holidays including Sicily. Yes, we'll be going off to that fairly soon. And into the hall. Yes, hello Toadie. What are you up to? And yeah, you patrol the premises. I expect you end up sleeping somewhere. And so this is a little camera that's being used. You'll get glimpses of the expensive Renoir painting. And I think the earlier material started at about here. Now what I put on the screen, because global warming is in itself, it's something that's been on my grumpy page for years. The remarkable James Lovelock, who passed away on the 26th of July, his 103rd birthday. I'll read out what this says here. This has been on the grumpy page for years, not long after the publication of his book, Revenge of Gaia. We can't stop global warming, but we may delay it by a few decades to give us time to prepare for its effects. Vast areas of the world, including as close as continental Europe, becoming arid desert, shrinking of habitable areas of the planet to much smaller parts of the planet, closer to the poles. The Earth will then only be able to support a small fraction of its present population, and there will be a need for massive migration. Places like the UK will remain temperate a little longer, so be an attractive destination. We need all world governments to cooperate to prepare for this inevitability. Also to agree things like reduce use of fossil fuels to give us a few more decades to prepare. And then it goes on, the above is not a quote, but how I remember what James Lovelock said in his book, The Revenge of Gaia, etc. That's been unchanged on my site for years. And, right, well, the other thing I should mention, yes, retired, happy and spending that kid's inheritance, is for some time now I've not been able to drive due to, well, several mistakes at the DVLA. And what I will say is that I have new evidence of what happened inside the DVLA, which I won't publish yet because I'm still waiting for the reply to the letter which was delivered by recorded delivery to the head of the DVLA and also other people. So I'll put in at the end of this long video the video that's gone up, me talking about the DVLA, and basically in summary it says I don't want anybody to get into trouble, and that is definitely the case, and resigning is too easy. Problems need to be fixed. But quite honestly, that is a minor thing compared with all the other things that are going on in the world, not least wars, and of course what's in the background and very important is global warming. So let's run into that. Back in 2012.
We've seen the launch of a transatlantic sailing attempt this morning in a model boat. Retired NATO scientist Robin Lovelock launched his Snoop Loop from Barton-on-Sea towards the Bahamas. It's already been tested over 5,000 miles on a lake in Berkshire. The model will be steered and tracked through a satellite system and by Snoopy, of course, and it should make the crossing in 6 months, if it survives, that is.
The most important thing of the lot, of course, is Snoopy the Viking, the skipper. I don't think he'd make it otherwise. We've also got another bit and piece here. This is a GPS logger that logs the position every 15 minutes. That was back in 2012. The guy that put this material together, including the live broadcast and what went up on the BBC website, is Ben Moore.
I just worry for Snoopy. Sport now and Hampshire.
Right, on to the next topic. Right. Now, I'm going to do this all in one take. All unrehearsed and unscripted, so sorry about that. What I'd like to happen, if anybody picks up on the DVLA story, is, as I say, nobody getting into trouble, and that's a genuine request, but when they find flaws in procedures where they don't cover certain things, be good if those are fixed. What I think would be useful for anybody looking at the DVLA and perhaps helping them is, first of all, their organisation chart showing the structure. Yes, it's well known who the head of the DVLA, remarkable woman, looking at her CV, and relevant to this story is the head of the health part. But it would be very useful to see, even if names aren't attached, obviously the names can be attached where they're public already, is how many people in each branch, how many people are reporting to how many. So a simple tree would help. I suggest that first of all. Then, perhaps even more important, is how many people working for the DVLA, even if you don't identify the individuals, are salaried by the DVLA excuse me, directly, as opposed to contracted through an agency or a business. That is very important, and we've seen what's been happening in places like the NHS for years. So that comes into the equation in terms of whether money is well spent, and of course the DVLA collects a lot of money, and there are probably other things as well, but as a starting point, I'd hope anybody that responds to this, I can't afford to get overloaded, we've got other things to do, many other things to do, and we'll be taking a holiday. That'll be public, yes. I'm tracked everywhere by different things, and in fact, if anybody's paranoid about it, anybody who's tracking somebody or looking at somebody's probably seen already. But at the end of the day, there's me wittering on, which is one of my main weaknesses since I was a little child. That's why if you put things up, clearly be careful what you put up, and often it can do some good. I'm now in the kitchen and June's rustling up some food in the microwave for Samantha, and here's Samantha, and of course there's tennis on the television just for a change. So, oh yes, point out holidays in we're going off to Sicily again soon, and into the hall. Yes, nice expensive paintings here. Yep, expensive little pocket camera, not expensive, and through into the lounge and out to wrap up this video by saying, look after yourselves, stay safe, and enjoy what days we have. Yes, it's now middle of March 2024, and the font's changed quite a bit. I'll have to change the copyright statement at the end, but the message is the same. Look after yourselves, stay safe, and enjoy life while we can. Oh yeah, my hair's grown a bit since then.